Hi everyone, my name is Raghu Prabhu. I'm a global go-to-market specialist for data lakes on AWS. And today we will be talking about AWS Lake Formation, the cross-account feature. Again, this is not a deep dive on lake formation. We have another video for this, which I can tag in the video here. But this is a deep dive on a particular feature that we just recently released, and that is the cross-account feature inside lake formation. Okay, so we're going to learn about what this feature is and how it could be relevant to your implementation of data lakes on AWS. Okay, so the agenda. We're going to talk about first what is lake formation cross-account feature. Okay, we're going to learn all about it. Next, why did we build it? You know, what made us build this feature, right? How does it work? I got some demos for you guys, you know, lots of demos, I think 5 or 6 demos. So definitely, wait for it. And then some of the architectural patterns. So this has been GA for about a month now, and it was in preview for a few months. So during the time, we worked with many customers and we understood about some of the patterns that are working for our customers in the implementation of lake formation and especially the lake formation cross-account feature. All right, so let's get it up. All right, so this is my attempt in defining what this feature is all about, which is the lake formation cross-account feature. So I'm going to just read it off the screen. Don't worry if you don't get it. You know, as this definition stands, I will walk you guys through very clearly what this is supposed to do. So lake formation cross-account is a feature where a source AWS account can share lake formation databases and tables to target AWS accounts so they can manage access to these resources and consume these resources independent of the sharing source account. So as you can see, this particular feature is all about sharing resources. By resources, I mean lake formation databases and lake formation tables. Okay, and these resources can be shared from one AWS account to another AWS account and a lot more. So let's learn about, you know, in detail what this feature does. Okay, fundamental value prop of this feature. Why did we build it? Data lakes are built by organizations with multiple lines of businesses. So for example, if you are a finance company, you may have you're going to have multiple lines of businesses like capital markets and banking, credit, you know, mortgages. So just a lot of different departments. We're going to call them LOBs as you know, line of business. So you're going to see this acronym LOB everywhere. So what that means is a line of business. Okay, it's a department within your organization. So what we see with our customers is our customers have many lines of businesses, and these lines of businesses have their own P&L, you know, profit and loss, and therefore they have their own sets of AWS accounts. Okay, so when you build a data lake, you build this data lake across the entire organization, across all the lines of businesses. So what our customers want is have a system that allows them to share resources, basically databases and tables, from one AWS account to another AWS account. In this case, it could be one line of business account to another line of business account, and a lot more. So that's the core reason why we built lake formation cross-account feature. And the next reason is some of these organizations are gravitating towards a single data catalog as the single source of truth across their entire company. So one data catalog. Like I said, you've got multiple lines of businesses, right? But as an organization, you want one data catalog that sort of goes across all the lines of businesses, right? So this pattern is becoming more and more popular, and we see that lake formation cross-account feature is going to be very helpful in building these type of architectures. More on this later. And then number 3, like I said, if an organization has multiple lines of businesses with their own sets of AWS accounts, with their own profit and loss statements, these lines of businesses want to pay for what they use. Meaning, although it's one big massive organization, if you run an Athena query, if you spin up EMR clusters, the line of business wants to pay for it, right? So separation of these compute resources is extremely important, and we need to make it easier for our customers. And again, lake formation cross-account feature helps you with that goal. And finally, you want to make all of this easy for our customers. You want to build a centralized data catalog. You want to be able to share data with your lines of businesses. You want to be able to do all of this as easily as possible. So these are just a handful of goals that we had when we built this feature, which is the cross-account feature inside Lake Formation. All right, so those are why we built it. And then let's get a baseline. Okay, there can be some confusion here. There are 2 kinds of cross-account. When maybe you have come across this or maybe not. There are 2 kinds of cross-account features inside Lake Formation. One is the S3 bucket is in a different account than the Lake Formation account. Okay, we call this storage cross-account. That's the number 1 point here. This is the storage cross-account, and we have always had this ever since we released Lake Formation, which was August of 2019. We always supported this. So a bucket can sit in a different account, your Lake Formation can sit in a different account, and you can have Lake Formation point to that S3 bucket that's sitting in a different account. No problem. We always supported this. Point number 2, Athena, EMR, Redshift, Spectrum in a different AWS account than the Lake Formation account. We call this the consumption cross account. Consumption cross account. In this case, the consuming services are Athena, EMR, Redshift, Spectrum. These are consuming services. These want to be in a different account than the Lake Formation account. Now this we had no support for when we launched the service. And today's discussion is consumption cross account, or point number 2 here. Okay, so that's what we are discussing. Again, not to kind of go over this, I made it very clear in the previous slide, but I just want to show this to you using just more graphics, right? So we have AWS account number 1, we have AWS account number 2, and then account number 3. Account number 1 has an S3 bucket, all right? Account number 2 is where Lake Formation is let's say set up, is installed, okay, is being used, is in account number 2. And account number 3 is your typical line of business account. That's your consuming account. And this is the account, you could be spinning up Athenas and Redshift, Spectrum, and EMR. This is where the workloads live. And what you want to do is run these services, but point to Lake Formation. In other words, point to databases and tables inside this Lake Formation that resides in a different account. This we always supported. Like I said, we always supported this since the release of Lake Formation, August of 2019. What we are going to discuss today, pardon my amazing animation, this is the hot new feature we're going to discuss today. All right, so that's what we're going to discuss. Is this part is how you can have these consuming services in a different account and point to Lake Formation that sits in a different account. That's what we're gonna do. All right, so how does this work? Okay, Like I said, I'm going to demo all of these things to you, but it's much easier if you understand the functionality itself. All right. So I got an account here, AWS account A. All right. And we have Lake Formation in this account. We have databases and tables. These are Lake Formation databases and Lake Formation tables in account A. I want to be able to share these databases and these tables to different accounts. Okay, that's what cross-account feature is. So let's sort of understand all the things that it can do. Again, pardon my amazing animation, but I like to describe things one at a time instead of putting everything in front of you. I got another account, actually two more accounts, account B and account C. I want to be able to share these databases and tables with different AWS accounts such as A, B, and C. Yes, that is supported. Okay, we absolutely support it, no problem. But it's more than that. If you're familiar with AWS organizations, AWS organizations is a service in its own, and if you're not familiar with it, definitely check it out. It's been GA for, I think, 3+ years now, I would say. This service allows you to categorize your AWS accounts into multiple organizational units. We call them OUs. Okay, so you can have categories of AWS accounts. Very common pattern with our customers. So you have a large organization, you're a big bank, you're a big pharma company. You're going to have many of these organizational units per department as a use case, right? So let's assume in this case, okay, account A belongs to AWS Organizational Unit 1. We call them OUs, all right, OU1, and then B and C belong to OU2. Guess what? If you want to share these databases and tables to many accounts, chances are it may be just easier to share it with the OU itself. Okay, so let's assume that you want to share these resources, databases and tables with an entire department. Okay, and this whole department is an OU. Okay, instead of having to share with each account one at a time, you can just share it with the OU itself, which is amazing, right? It helps you scale. That's the whole point. We need to make this thing easy, and we need to make this thing scale. Finally, like I said, if you're familiar with AWS organizations, there is a super organization. Okay, this is your company itself. All right. What if you want to share it with the entire organization instead of having to go through one OU at a time? Guess what? You can do that too, right? So we want to make this thing easy. So you can share it one account at a time. And if it's too cumbersome, go ahead, share it with the OU. If that's too cumbersome, share it with the entire organization itself. Quarterly sales. Everyone probably should know what quarterly sales are. Just share it with the entire organization so everybody gets it. So these are some of the sharing capabilities that we have. But what if you have a vendor, okay, a partner, a customer, and you want to share these databases and tables with an external AWS account, all right? An account that is not part of your organization at all. We support that too. So the use cases that you can onboard with this are going to be many, given the kind of sharing capabilities that we built. Okay, so the point of this slide is how much can you share and who you can share these resources with. Great, let's move on. How does it work? So so far now we know, right, that you can share these databases and tables from one account to another. But how does this work behind the scenes? So instead of calling account A and account B, I'm going to start introducing the term account source, account target. Okay, we're gonna stick to this terminology now. When a source account shares resources such as databases and tables with the target account, Resource Access Manager does the orchestration behind the scenes. And this is kind of important for you to know. It's behind the scenes for the most part, all right? Chances are you may not have to even do anything about it. But if you feel that something is not working, chances are you may not have the right permissions for RAM called Resource Access Manager. You may not have the right permissions. You may have to, make sure that you have the right access. We have tons of documentation on this, but just so you know, we have one more service involved that basically does this orchestration behind the scenes. Resource Access Manager is not new. We have had this for a while, many years actually, and you can share subnets and VPCs and all kinds of good stuff using Resource Access Manager. We are using a proven service to make all of these orchestration and sharing happen, which is nice. All right. Okay, so we know, what do we know? We know that we can share these resources, databases, and tables with other AWS accounts. Resource Access Manager really helps you with orchestration. We are learning here, okay? And as part of this learning, we have to absolutely understand the concept of resource links, okay? So for the next 2 to 3 slides, we're gonna understand a little bit more about resource links. Once we understand this, we can get into the demos and really see all of these things in action. So definitely pay attention to understand what's the concept of resource links and why is it important. All right. In front of me, I have 2 AWS accounts, AWS account source 1, AWS account source 2, okay? Let's assume these accounts have similarly named databases and tables, okay? Sales database in source 1, sales database in source 2. Customer table in source 1, customer table in source 2. They are named similarly, okay? Chances are this is a line of business, right? And then they have their own sales and customers, and this is a line of business. They have their own sales and they have their own customers. These 2 accounts share with a target account, okay? They share the database and they share a table. So what this target account, and I'm going to show you these things in action. So if you go into the target accounts Lake Formation, you will see that there is a sales database from source 1, there is a customer table from source 1, there is a sales database from source 2, and a customer table from source 2. You cannot, as you can imagine, they are similarly named, right? So what we have to do is we need to receive the shares, okay? We need to receive the shares and give it a name that I can understand inside AWS account target, okay? I cannot use them as they are shared because of, the contention that I have because they are similarly named. What I have to do is I have to take the shares and give it a proper name. That process is actually resource linking. And again, I'm going to show you this feature very elaborately, but you're going to have to know that the reason why we created it is so anyone can share anything, okay? And we are not going to stop them from sharing because we are handling it in the target account. All right, so resource links, shared databases and tables cannot be used as is, as there may be overlaps in their names. Creating resource links is a process of receiving a shared resource so it can be named appropriately and then secured, okay? In other words, this is nothing but the target account from the previous slide, okay? I've kind of blown it up a little bit. I have same names here, right? I have same names. I'm going to create resource links, guys. There you go. So I have the sales database from source one, but it just so happens that source one is capital markets. So I will say, as I receive this, sales capital markets database. Similarly, the customer table can become customer capital markets table. So as you can see, I'm creating these resource links. That these things that are in gray are basically resource links, and they point to the source, but I'm going to name them in a way that's going to be meaningful. Okay. The resource two happens to be my line of business, banking. So I'm going to say sales banking database and customer banking table. All right, I hope this makes sense. So what's resource linking? Resource linking is nothing but a process of receiving these shares, so it makes sense to you in your account. All right, so I think we got that down. So I'm going to summarize all of these things before I go into the demo. So I'm going to just read this out, right? Lake Formation cross account allows you to share databases and tables with other accounts, AWS organizational units, which is OUs, and AWS organizations itself. Lake Formation cross account uses Resource Access Manager, RAM, underneath. So when you or your customers start playing with Lake Formation cross account, they may need access to RAM. Okay, so when you try this out, just know that, do I have the right permissions for RAM? Resource links are a way of accepting these resource shares and naming the shares appropriately. And then I'm gonna actually show this to you, then talking about this in here. All right, demos. I got tons of demos. I hope I have made the right sacrifices to the demo gods here. Hope they are happy with me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 1, 6 demos. Demo number 1, I'm going to share. I'm going to do a simple demo. You know, demo 1, it needs to be simple. Share a table to an AWS account that's in the same OU. Okay. Then I'm going to share a database as step 2. All right. I'm going to share a database and then add a table to that database and see what happens. Then I'm going to share a database to an external account, a completely different account that kind of I don't, I got nothing to do with, right? Could be a partner account, customer account. And then I'm going to revoke my share. So I'm going to share something and I'm going to take it back. And then what happens? Finally, I'm going to do another one, a cool demo where I will share a table, but I'm not going to share everything. I'm going to share just a few columns in that share. Okay. And just depending on time, how quickly we go, I'll show this all tables functionality for bulk permissioning. This will make sense for folks who are already using Lake Formation. They're going to be quite excited with this piece of functionality. So I'm going to show all of those things. So let's get going here. I'm going to move this to my other monitor. All right, let me introduce you to my setup here. So this is Chrome. Okay, if you recognize Chrome window. So this is Chrome. This is my source account. All right, this is my source account. And my Firefox is my target account. All right. I know there is a way to do this all within the same browser, and it just gets confusing. So I'm just gonna flip between 2 windows instead of tabs. Okay. So there is a lot of window shifting here. I really, if this is something that's important to you, I would pay attention, full attention here, so you know which window I'm on and what it means. Okay, so definitely pay attention here. So Firefox, this is my Firefox. It's my target. Chrome is my source. Another point, I have blown up my resolution here, so it kind of looks funny, but the good part about this is it's going to be easier for you guys to see this. So if you see a lot of these scroll bars, they shouldn't really be there, but have blown up my resolution, so it's just easier for everybody to see. Great. All right, let's do this. Okay, so I'm in my source account, all right, and my source account begins with 0472. So I am in this account, okay, and I own all these databases here. So again, this is not a deep dive of Lake Formation. This is just a deep dive on Lake Formation cross account. So let me click on one of these databases, right? I'm going to click on this database called Source Database 1. I'm going to click on View Tables. I got a table, all right? You know, I own this table. It's called Source Table 1. I'm going to click on this table. Nothing fancy here. If you are familiar with Lake Formation, you know this. The data that I'm using is Amazon Reviews data. It's a fabulous data set. It's publicly available. Just go to the internet and search for AWS, Amazon Reviews data set, and then you can just download it and play with it. It's not that big. It should download quick actually, and it's fascinating data set. Highly recommend you guys playing with it. And it's kind of funny, you know, what you find, which products are popular, which are highly rated. It's kind of impressive. Okay, we made this thing publicly available. This is the data set that I'm using, and all the tables that I'm going to have all points to the same data set, but it doesn't matter, okay? It all points to this one bucket, Amazon Reviews, but it doesn't matter because I have created multiple tables and multiple databases that point to the same data set. But it doesn't matter because I get to show you cross account, which has got nothing to do with what this data is. Great. So I got a source table 1. And this is the schema of this table. And what I want to do, folks, is I want to share this data. Okay, so I'm going to say actions, and I'm going to say grant. Okay, I'm going to say external account. This is cross account. Okay, external account. I want to share this table. Who am I going to share this table with? And I'm going to skip over all of this. And this is my entire organization. Okay, if I want to share this with everybody, this is what I would click on. But then I have an OU, organizational unit called Glue Lake Formation LFX account test, meaning Glue Lake Formation cross account test. This is my OU, and it just so happens that I have 2 accounts in my OU. All right. See, as you can see, this is the same thing expanded here. I am in this account. 0472 is where I'm right now. But today I want to share this with one of my other accounts within my OU, and this account starts with 1376. Great. Okay, I picked my AWS account. It's in my OU, and I'm going to say I'm going to share this entire table, and I'm going to just give you select permissions to this entire account. Great, grant. There you go, done. So if I scroll down, we have a new panel here. If I refresh this, there it is, it's active, okay? And again, remember, behind the scenes, Resource Access Manager is working, RAM is working behind the scenes, and it does a few things automatically when you're in the same OU or when you're in the same organization. It does a few things behind the scenes for you, okay? And I'm going to show you when it automatically does not do some of these things, especially in the external account demo. I'm going to show you. I'm going to take you to RAM and accept some of these shares. So you're gonna see these things in action. But just know that behind the scenes, you know, RAM is handling all these shares for me. So I just shared something. Now I'm already logged in my 1376 account. See, 1376 already logged in there. And I'm going to go to Lake Formation here. And what I should be able to see, again, my resolution is a bit blown up. I'm in my Lake Formation account. I'm going to click on tables. I just shared a table, guys. So let's see. There it is. Source table 1 is being shared with me, and the account owner is 0472, right? We were just there. So there is nothing I can do with this right now. You know, I got to do the resource linking part. I got to accept this share. But meanwhile, I can click on it. I can look at information, but I cannot really query this. Okay, this is kind of, you know, an in-between state. All right. So we gotta accept this. So let's do this. Let's do resource linking. You're gonna see the same thing over and over and over again in all of my demos, and that's a good thing. So that way, you know, you get it, right? You know, you see the same thing. All right. So I'm gonna accept this share, and I'm real lazy, so I'm gonna copy paste the stuff, and I'm gonna say target. Target, you can name this thing whatever you want. Capital markets, you can name whatever you want. I'm just going to name something I can follow through. I got multiple demos here. So I'm creating this resource link, but where do I want this resource link? I'm going to create this resource link in my database that is local to me called Target Database 1. You see what's happening here? I'm receiving this. I'm receiving this share. The rest of the things are filled out, and I hit create. Great, voila. So if I go to databases, go to my Target Database 1, view tables, you see this, you know, it's in a different font, it's in italics. This is my resource link, okay? The nice thing about my resource link is I'm ready to go. You know, again, everything looks as is, right? Like the way the share is. If I click on this bucket, nothing happens because this is a bucket that's not local to my account. You get access denied. Okay, I'm not going to click on it. It's just going to take more time. Just trust me. This is my sources bucket. I have no access to it. Absolutely no access. Let's see if we can query this. Actually, I have Athena open here. I'm going to refresh this, and I just created Target Database 1. Target Database 1, and I got target underscore source table 1. Let's see if I can query it. So this is a resource link, okay? There you go. I'm able to query this, no problem. The reason I got automatic access to this is because I am the creator of that resource link, and therefore I get select permissions on this, okay? But if you're familiar, if you're an existing user of Lake Formation, we have a new grant and grant on target, okay? So the difference is as following. I am on a resource link. Target source table 1 is a resource link, okay? If I click on grant, it's basically permissions of the resource link. But grant on target is actually, I'm going to click on it actually, show you guys. So let's assume I got my, I want to share this table with other people in my account. So I pick my analyst user, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to give you access to this awesome table that was just shared with me. I'm going to give you access to this, and yes, you can go and select this. And I can hit grant, and guess what? Analyst user will get access to this. So this is just, you know, what Lake Formation is meant to do is you vend out all these, you know, access. I just wanted to kind of show you what grant means when you have a resource link, and grant on target means when you have a resource link. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to show you this same demo with different contexts, so it will become quite clear. We just went through demo number 1. I shared a table, right? I shared a table, and I accepted the table in a different account by creating a resource link, and I was able to query it. But what about sharing a whole database? You don't want to be sharing one table at a time. That doesn't scale. What if you just want to share a whole database, right? Let's see if that works. So I'm back in my Chrome. Now I'm in my 1.3. I'm sorry. What's the account here? I'm in my source account, and let's click on database. Yeah, 0472 account, and I'm in my Chrome, right? And I'm going to share a whole database. So I have this database source underscore database 2. Let's click on this, right? Nothing crazy going on here. I have a table. It's slightly different named source 2 table 1. It points to the same S3 bucket, but different table, different database. And what I want to do is I want to share this whole database with one of my accounts. So let's do it. Source database 2, action, grant, external account. I'm going to go, you've seen this before. I'm going to go and I'm going to say, I'm going to share this with a different account within my own OU. There you go. And I'm going to say, yeah, you can have select access. But I'm saying what the part that's important here is I'm sharing the whole database. Okay. And I'm sharing all tables underneath this database, all tables underneath this database. That's kind of cool. So hit grant. Okay. Off you go. So if I click on this database, I just shared this database. And if I go here, just refresh this particular pane here, right? Refresh this. It's active. Resource Access Manager is taking care of me. Everything is working. So I'm going to go to my target, which is my Firefox. Click on databases. And there it is. This is what I just shared, you know. I can click on it. I'm going to click on my share. There's nothing I can do until I create my resource link. But I can click through this. I can see what's going on. Yeah, I'm clicking through. I'm seeing that I have a table. Okay, I have a table in this database share. That's great. Let's make use of this. I wanna receive this share, which means I gotta go and create a resource link. So create resource link for the whole database. I'm lazy, so I'm gonna just copy. I'm gonna paste this. I'm gonna just change the source to target. Beautiful. Hit create. There it is. I got my target database too. I am the owner. Shared resource is you know what I just shared in the previous screen, and the real owner is 0472. All of these things make sense. So if I'm to click on this and click on view tables, yep, I see pretty much what I would expect, but can I query this? So let's see, I'm gonna go to Athena. I will, so yeah, target database 2. So can I just edit this target database 2 and then source to table 1. Source to table 1, run query. Perfect, I'm doing great here. As you can see, what's nice about this, right? I shared a whole database. I created a resource link for the database shared. I didn't have to create more resource links for the tables inside the database. I didn't have to do that. I just create that resource link once, and I was able to just query the table inside the database. But what happens if I'm to add a table to that database? What happens if I'm to add a table? Let's see how that works. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the source. Okay, he's my sharer, right? I'm going to go to my source, click on databases, click on the database. Yep, source database 2. I just got one database here, one table here. So what I've done is I have another table ready to go, source to table 2, ready to go. You know, it's just a different table. Okay, run query. I just created a oops, I created in the wrong database. That doesn't help. Yeah, let's do this again. Oh, I think created in the right database maybe. Oh, yeah, I created that in the database. I was hoping to create. I have the database qualifier here. Sorry, I forgot to see that. Yep, everything's good. I got my new table here. So what happens with my share, with my resource link in my target account? Does this new table show automatically? Let's check it out. Go back here. Let's click on databases. Yep, this is my resource link off the database. Click view tables. There it is. That's source 2, table 2. It just shows up automatically. And guess what? I should be able to simply query this. There you go. So easy, so easy. If you share a database and if you say all tables, there is nothing else you're gonna really have to do. You can just create tables or remove tables. Everything is going to be reflected automatically in the target accounts, which is awesome. That's what you would want. Okay, great. Cool. Let's see what's my next demo here. So we created a table, we shared a table, we shared a database, we added a table, we saw that it's seamless. I want to share a database, the same database, to an external account. An external account, meaning this is an account, I just have an account number, all right? And this is an account number that could be your vendor, your partner, your customer, and you just want to say, I'm going to share this table with you, and you can just query this using Athena, for example, right? Which is the best part. So let's see if we can do that, right? Now I'm going to go to my Chrome, which is my source, right? I'm going to click on databases, and I have an account number here ready to go. Okay, this is my customer. All right, let's assume it's not a real customer, but let's assume he's my customer. And I want to share some of my customer data with my customer, because I'm a SaaS product, okay, and I'm a multi-tenant SaaS product. And what I want to do is I'm building, this massive data lake, and on occasions I want to take an entire table and I want to share that directly with my customer because they are on AWS too, and let them just knock themselves out with querying this data that I basically shared. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. Source database 2, I'm going to go here. Actually, I'm going to click inside it so you get to see this, right? And then go here and I'm going to say grant. External account, again, this is a good thing. You're seeing the same thing over and over again. But in this case, drop down doesn't work for me because this is a different account. All tables, select grant. Okay, I'm going to refresh this pane. All right. It says it's kind of looking halfway through, and it hasn't come through all the way. This is my RAM. Okay, and the reason is I'll show you what the reason. I'm going to have to log into that other account, so I'm just going to move this to my other window here and log in securely. So perfect. I'm gonna close my Athena. Beautiful. So I am in my 1.5 account. You can see that, right? You can see I'm just logged into my 1.5.158 account, and I click on Lake Formation. Someone just shared a whole database with me. Okay, I'm an external account. Lake Formation is smart. It's telling me I have one pending resource share invitations. Okay, so open RAM to view this. In the previous demos, I did not get this pop-up. The reason I did not get this pop-up is because I was sharing within the same organization. Okay, and there are certain defaults inside RAM, and you can set Resource Access Manager to just accept shares from within the same organization, automatically accept those invitations. That's why I didn't have to deal with it. But this is an external account. So that's why I have to go into RAM, and it's telling me I got this invitation. I can click on it. It tells me this is the sharer, so, and I can go and accept this resource share here, hit OK. All right, I did that. Now if I'm to just refresh this whole page, right, the pop-up goes away and I see my share, okay? And everything from here is exactly the same that you saw in the previous demo, which is create resource link. I'm going to create a resource link here. And hit create. There you go. I click on this, click view tables. Yep, I see 2 tables. And if I have to click on this and hit Athena, just trust me on this, Athena will work because I am the creator of this resource link. So it will give me some default permissions, which can be revoked if you want to. So yeah, I just shared, a database with a completely different account. And once I accept the RAM invitation, it works exactly the same. But what happens, this is something I do want to show. So I shared something with an external account. It can be, in this case, it's an external account, but it behaves the same exact way even with an account that's part of your organization. What happens if you revoke access? So you share something and you decide that, hey, I just was going to be a temporary share, just for a week, okay? I want to take it back. I want to take it back in what wasn't meant to be a share that was going to be forever, right? I want to take it back. So what happens? Number one, can you take it back? Number two, what happens when you do take it back? So let's do that. Let's go to my Chrome. Chrome is my source, right? There you go. It's all lit up here because I accepted my RAM share. I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna take this resource share back. I shared this database. I no longer want to share this database. So revoke external account. So I'm revoking. Here we go. Yep, I had granted a select, so I'm revoking the same permission. Hit revoke. This should fall off. That's it. It's inactive, gone. Okay, now what happens? What happens here? What happens here? Right? This is my Firefox. This is my 158. This is my resource target. Okay. So number one, let me just refresh this. My share just fell off, but I still have my resource link, okay, because this resource link is native to me, but it points to my share that no longer exists. Click on this and click view tables, error. That's it. I have cut the cord, okay, nothing, everything will just fail. I have no access to this. All right, so that's how you can just cut the cord and the share just drops off. So hopefully that explains the value, right? You can share something, you can share a table, you can share a database with any of these accounts. It could be an external account. You can cut the cord, take the share back, and now you're no longer sharing this. All great. I got one last core demo here. Share a restricted table, share a table with restricted columns. Okay, so this is actually quite cool. So I'm going to go back to my Chrome. Okay, I'm in my Chrome. And just to keep things separate, I want to be able to like track things, right? I've got multiple demos going. So I'm just created a separate database for this. These tables look all the same. And I have a source 3 table 1, okay? And what I want to do is I want to grant, as you can see, let me just show you this table. Exact same, right? I'm going to go grant this, grant, external account. I'm going to share this with my entire OU. As you can see, 1376 is part of this OU. All right. So I'm going to pick the OU and I'm going to say, I'm sharing this table, but I am going to only share a limited set of columns, marketplace and customer ID. Just 2 columns is all I'm going to share. Okay. And select permissions. As you can see, my resolution is blown up, so I get scroll bars. But so only part of this data is shared. Click grant. Okay. So I shared it with an entire OU. I'm in my 158 account, so I'm going to quickly log into my 1376 really quick. So just give me a second here. Just doing this in my other monitor. We cannot share this part. Okay, here we go. Okay, I think I'm good. Here we go. I'm in my 1376. All right. 1376 happens to be in the same OU. Let's see what's happening here. I shared a table, right? Click on tables. I shared a table with an entire OU. Do I see a source 3 table 1? Yes, I do. Okay, this is a brand new share. If I click on this, I just see the 2 columns that were shared with me, just the 2 columns. I cannot wait to create a resource link on this one. So create resource link, give it a name. All right, target. Where do I want this table? I'm just going to create this in a different database so we get to see things in isolation here. So target database 3, create. Okay, go to my database, target database 3, view tables. I just created this resource link, right? I'm gonna view this data in Athena, see what happens. I just see the 2 columns. It's a select star from table, but from the source, I was restricted 2 columns, and that's all I'm gonna see. I just get to see 2 columns. Excellent. All these demos are going well. I got one last one, my bonus round, my bonus demo right here. And this is for all the existing Lake Formation users. As part of this whole cross account, we did something, okay? And that's all tables functionality, bulk permissioning on all tables functionality. What this means, what does this mean? So I'm gonna go to my source, okay? And source is my Chrome, right? And quite frankly, you could do this on a target too, but anyway. So I'm in my source, and what I can do is I can say, I'm at the database level, so I can say, hey, I got a database here, and what I want to do is I want to grant permissions, okay, to all my users within my account. Okay, so I can pick all my users, right? I can, you can do this through APIs too, right? All my users, I've selected a bunch, okay? I'm in my own account here, and I can say, oops, I'm in the wrong screen. Data permissions, grant. Yep, same thing. I'm in my own account. I pick my users, and what I want to do is I got a database here. All right, I got a database, say source database 1, and I want these users to have access to all tables. Not just one table at a time, just all tables. And these users will just go select permissions on this all day long. Okay, and I hit grant. What this basically will do is as you add more tables to this database, these users will get automatic select access to the newly added tables, and no one needs to go in and do anything. Okay, so you just kind of do this once, you pick your users, you pick your database, and you say, you got access to all the tables underneath this database. You could, like I said, you could do this through APIs, and that's it. And if you create new tables underneath this database, you get automatic access. Awesome. So back to my demo. One point I need to make here. I did all these demos, and I could have shown this that my S3 policies are pretty bare bones. Okay, and that this can be a separate discussion on how Lake Formation actually makes itself as a wrapper around S3. As managing permissions on S3, I love S3, but managing permissions on S3 at scale can be difficult. Lake Formation does the heavy lifting, especially for analytics services, for analytics use cases, in becoming a wrapper around your S3 buckets that become your data lake. It's a heavy statement, what I just said. There is a lot going on. So don't worry if you don't fully get that. The point is, I did not have to touch my S3 at all, okay? With all the shares that I did, I didn't have to go in and do an edit on an S3 bucket. Okay, the point of Lake Formation and cross account is S3 permissions are going to be restricted to as fewer IAM principals as possible, maybe one or two. Okay, let's say it's two. One could be the ingestion, the IAM role that writes to that bucket, and two, the Lake Formation service level role. At a minimum, it's going to be two, and maybe that's it. Okay, and everyone else gets their permissions through Lake Formation. So as you share tables, okay, you saw me share tables and share databases to different accounts and even an external account. I didn't have to touch S3 policies at all. It just worked. Okay, I cannot tell you how priceless that is. All right. Okay, value of Lake Formation cross account. I'm kind of telling you the same thing that I've always told you. So I'm going to go through this really quick. Share tables and databases with no policy edits on S3. Huge. Target AWS accounts pay for the consumption of Athena, Redshift, Spectrum, and EMR. We demonstrated that. These Athenas were in my target account. So they pay for those Athena usage or Spectrum usage, right? They pay for it. You don't have to copy data. To share data, you don't have to copy data. If you're copying data from one, you as a business to copying data to another business, FTPing, there is a better way of doing this. This is a better way. Don't copy data. Instead, build a data lake and share these things. You can share resources, but you're still in control of those resources. Once you copy data to another party, you lose control, right? You cannot you can't really, change that, right? Once you drop that into FTP, you drop that into FTP. Fifth point is, this is kind of cool, and I can't stress how important this is. Once you share a database to a different account, once you share a table to a different account, that account decides who gets access to this table. The nice thing is, the sharer, the source account, is not hassled by the target account. Hey, can you make this change to your share because I'm adding more users or I'm removing users? Can you make any kind of changes? You're not bothering the sharer anymore. You create a resource link and you take control of that and you share it internally within your own account to whoever needs access to this data. You're not bothering the sharer or the source account, and that's a good thing, okay? And finally, centralized logging. I'm gonna tell you guys what it is. Again, pretty priceless. So this is a CloudTrail, okay? CloudTrail log of my access. And then I pulled this from my source. As you can see, my source was sharing all this type of data. Okay, I pulled this from my source, and you can get some amazing input on what's going on. So even if you share something out to a target account, you get to see their usage. Okay, you get to see, oh, 1376 just did a select on this particular resource using Athena. So when you share something out, right, and they start querying this, you get to know what's going on, right? You know, are they querying a lot? Are they querying too little? If they're querying too little, it basically it means that, you know, they may have paid a copy of this data, and you wouldn't want that. Okay, in that case, they're going to have to show all their usage on the share, right? So there is a way of tracking this, you know. So you get to see what's going on, who's using what, using which service. You don't necessarily get to see the select statement, and that's a good thing because, you know, privacy and the where clauses may have PII data. So, you know, we don't put all that out here, but we do tell you the activity, and this is centralized logging. Like I said, again, I repeat myself, this is a CloudTrail log I pulled out from my source. Okay. All right, I got a couple of slides. It's been a long presentation, guys. I hope you're sticking with this. What does this mean in like an enterprise data lake architecture? And this can be just more videos that I can make. And these are the conversations I'm having right now with the customers. You're a big bank. You don't have to be big. You just have a lot of data. Okay. You have a lot of data. You're building a data lake. You want to be able to share this data within your own organization with other people. What are some of the patterns that are becoming popular? Some people like the idea of a centralized data catalog. What that means is, here, you're going to have to look at my mouse pointer. I have a central account here, central AWS account. Okay, this is, let's assume, to make this simple, this is all within your own organization, okay? And you have lines of businesses, LOB2, LOB3, LOB4, and they have their own AWS accounts, right? But you as a company, you're invested in a centralized lake formation where you have cataloged organization-wide databases and tables that can be shared. Okay, so let's assume each of these LOBs share their quarterly sales, their customers, their machine learning models. You know, they share those resources with the central account. And what you can do is, let's assume LOB2, line of business 2, shared a whole bunch of that data. Line of business 4 is interested in consuming this data. So they can put in, let's assume, maybe like a Jira ticket or like an email, whatever your process is, and request access to that data. The central account grants or shares that database or table with line of business 4. And now line of business 4 can, you know, create a resource link, yada, 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 and start using this data. So this is a hub and spoke model of centralized login. Okay, now this, I am a big advocate of both models. All right, that's what's hub and spoke, and this is peer-to-peer. And peer-to-peer is, I'm not going to create anything centralized. Okay, I want each of these lines of businesses to take ownership of their own tables. Okay, you know your tables, you know what's in those tables, how much PII you have in those tables. You are responsible to make sure that you secure this yourself. And here are a set of guidelines to kind of, that basically dictates what you can share, what you cannot share. You know, as long as those data guidelines are provided. If LOB6 wants LOB1's data, just go ask LOB1 directly, you know, and let LOB1 share that with you. So there is nothing centralized about it. Again, like as this is peer-to-peer, this is fine too. You know, in both you know, architectures, it's who you are as an organization. Okay, and we can work with you in building massive scale data platforms that implement, one of these architectures behind the scenes. And I'll guarantee you that, Lake Formation is going to help you, and cross-account feature is going to be used heavily. So that's it, folks. That's my presentation. I'll make more of these, but thank you for sitting through this whole thing. If you did, I hope you got something out of it. Definitely, write comments. I read comments, and if possible, I can get back to you. So thank you so much.